My question for you is, did you happen to have like any Switch I know you're not a big Switch player, but did you happen to have like any Switch 1 games, like Nintendo or third party that you would like to see get that Switch 2 treatment for? Because like the only one for me is probably just like I would if they would get anything, it'd probably just be like an update like Scarlet and Violet or whatever. But I would love to see Three Houses get a Switch 2 treatment. I don't think it will because obviously we have the new game coming out next year. So the only thing it'd probably get is just like an update. But like that's the only thing that I could think of. Like I was also going to ask like, do you think this is going to be a consistent common trend where you're going to see Nintendo Switch 2 editions come out like left and right? Because you got to think a lot of the Switch 1 catalog is like Wii U games that were ported up, but that's because the Wii U flopped.
I don't think there's gonna be a lot of Switch 2 editions of games. I feel like we're still just seeing the ones like like uh Animal Crossing.
Yeah, yeah,
Like we're seeing those where it's like we're slowly kind of working our way through what Nintendo sees as their big hitters,
hmm,
like their big sellers. They're gonna continue to slowly get their updates for like Switch 2 versions. I don't see a whole lot of Switch 2 versions happening. I feel like that's mostly for
certain titles
like that's mostly for like certain titles
that are cross
or games
gen
that
or
were
whatever.
coming out at the like right before or as the Switch 2 was coming out.
Right, that's fair.
Those ones are getting it. I don't think we're getting much more outside of any other like game that might be like a top seller.
Right, that's fair.
But for the most part, no. And then like as far as Switch 1 games or like games that I want to see come to Switch 2, not really, because my Switch library is mostly it's mostly games that I got my use out of on Switch.
That's fair.
I got everything out of them that I wanted to there. And other than that, it's like just older games that are on the like on the store
Mhm.
that I just buy. But it's like they're ones that they don't need upgrades
Right.
because it's like they're just the old game that they sold again.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
mean
for the most part, it's like no, I'm kind of in the boat of I would rather them spend less time on updating Switch 1 games for Switch 2
right,
than just
facts.
spend the time on making Switch 2 versions of
Yeah,
games.
the Switch 2 editions, yeah.
It's like I would rather just them spend the time to make the games actually run good on the Switch 2.
Right.
It's like that's what I'm more interested in.
Yeah, no, me too, because, like, a lot of the games that I immediately think of that I would like to see get some sort of love are games that realistically just need an update, like a
Yeah.
Scarlet and Violet situation.
Well, it's like for the most part, it's like I'm not too worried about it either because I mean, so far every Switch 1 game that I've played on my Switch 2, even without an update or anything, just playing it on the Switch 2 fixes most of the problems.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, inherently there are problems in some of those games that do need require an update to actually fix.
Yeah.
But for the most part, on Switch like my Switch 1 games, just playing them on the better hardware fixes most of the problems.
Yeah. Yeah. No, in terms of like Switch 2 editions being a thing, I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be a long-term thing. I think that's going to be I think that's going to be a thing for Nintendo and third-party release. 'Cause keep in mind, third party already did it with Grand Bazaar and Rune Factory. They both had Switch 1 and 2 editions. I think that's going to be a thing for the next year,
Yeah,
if not 2 years tops of just new
I
releases
would expect
that comes out on both, old and
I
new.
would expect 2026 to have several more updates or Switch 2
Editions, yeah.
upgrades, come out for them, but beyond that, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't see that being a thing because like you'll just start releasing
Because
games less for the Switch and just
yeah,
all focus on Switch too.
because it's like I think for the next year, mainly the next year, maybe 2, but for the most after 2026, I'm gonna expect to see the fall off of it, and after 2026, almost everything is gonna be a strictly a Switch 2 game.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then like I said, for me, there's no Switch 2 editions I'd want to see, just like updates. If you want to throw like a nice update for Three Houses, that'd be cool. And then, of course, any of the Warriors games.
Yeah.
All three of the Hyrule Warriors, both the Fire Emblems, Persona 5 Strikers. Would like to see just like uncapped frame rates for those for the Switch 2. Because I don't know which ones, but like a couple of those are like uncapped and they're kind of like they just work on the Switch. But then you have one that like for the Age of Calamity where I think it's capped at 30 and it's still capped at 30. And it obviously had a lot of problems on the Switch to the point I still haven't fully played it. So like that's one. It's like, hey, if you just want to give a little update for the Switch too, it's like, hey, uncap the frame rate, let us go wild. Just stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
there's not a lot for me personally.
I wouldn't say no to like on it at the very least an update for like Three Houses. Granted, Three Houses ran fantastic on the Switch.
Oh yeah, no, it ran great.
I mean, it was built for that console.
Yeah,
So it was like it ran great for. I wouldn't say no to something like that because I mean mainly because I plan on playing it soon
yeah,
or relatively soon. Like kind of whenever we know when the next one is coming out, I'm gonna plan around playing a Three Houses run.
yeah,
So it's like regardless of if an update comes through or not, still gonna do it.
yep.
It'll already run better
Yeah.
on the Switch too.
Honestly, the only other ones I just thought of that would, I think, get some form of benefit with a Switch 2 edition, not because they ran poorly. No, they ran fantastic. I mean, massive shout out to the developers with how much they put love and care into all four of the games. But I think like having like a Switch 2 edition trilogy release of the Xenoblade games would be fucking sick. Because like
They deserve it.
dude, because
I
Monolith has done so much to make those games huge and run well. Imagine if they just gave it some sort of resolution update or whatever for the Switch 2.
it
Bruh. Would love to see that.
I've tried Xenoblade.
Yeah.
I cannot do it because of how it runs.
Really? Okay.
It's like it's one where I've tried.
It doesn't run well
They
for you.
run like ass.
Okay.
You know, but, like it's just the thing is like Xenoblade, it sells well, but it's like it's the quiet fan base.
Right.
It's not like the Pokemon fan base where a game comes out and then you have a war between the people liking it and the people that are complaining about performance.
Facts.
Xenoblade is whenever one comes out, the people that play it are just happy that one came out.
Right.
So they just play it and deal with it. They're not super vocal about it, or if they are, it's like a very small percentage where it doesn't really get out there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one where I've tried Xenoblade. It is rough to play.
Right.
So yeah, that would be
Especially if you put them out in a trilogy pack.
yeah,
Right.
because it's
Immediate pickup.
yeah, it's like you could. Granted, it's Nintendo. They probably wouldn't do the trilogy pack.
I know.
If they did something like that, that would be something that I would pick up.
Yeah, that'd be
'Cause
a day one.
I've like I said, I've tried to go back and play Xenoblade because I didn't play it when it came out.
Yeah.
I
Way back on the Wii.
yeah, it's like I bought like a Switch version and tried to play it. And I was
Yeah.
like, it was one where I played it for a few hours. I was like, I don't know that because a lot of times I can get through rough performance.
Right.
I have a pretty decent filter, like just with me in games because I'm like, I've played some not great games and played them all and just like completed them
Right.
or like played them decently far into it,
Me too.
and I'm like, and it's like I usually stop it not because of performance, it's because something else is the problem with it. If I'm stopping a game because of performance, I'm like, it's really got to hamper the game,
Mm.
and it's like to me that's kind of was Xenoblade. Granted, my Switch 1 didn't run a lot of games very good.
Yeah, for whatever reason, he got, for context, everyone, he got the Smash Switch, and like he had immense problems with Breath of the Wild, but I never did.
Oh yeah, it was
I wonder if it's just like that series of switches, like the Smash switches. There was some like defect in it, or
because
something.
it was one where it's like there were a couple games. Granted, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the
Right.
Kingdom approach. But it's like Tears of the Kingdom, I put a good solid effort into trying that
You
game.
played like 20 hours or whatever.
Yeah, I played
Yeah.
like 20, 30 hours, somewhere like that. And like Breath of the Wild is one where I stopped playing it because of performance issues on my Switch. And it's one where I, I won't go back to it now because I know I don't like the style of game.
Hmm.
But it's one where, yeah, I wouldn't go back to it anyway. But going if I would have had a better experience with that the first time around, maybe I would have had more leeway with the game mechanics that I didn't enjoy.
Right. Yeah. No, that's fair. No, I don't know. I don't know what was up with your Switch, man. Like I said, it might just be like that Smash Switch series. I don't know, man. That's weird. That's weird.